Hi you lot. So I'm going to start this video with an apology. This car is not an Alfa Romeo. No, it isn't an Alfa Romeo. What it is the convertible version of the very first car that I ever bought back when I was in my early 20s. And it's a 1980 Lancia Beta Spider. It's my first ever car that I bought when I was driving down to Devon from North Yorkshire back in the 80s, the late 80s. I actually really wanted a Fiat X19, that was what I wanted, but the two cars that I could find for sale at the time were too expensive, and I ended up finding a 1982 Lancia Beta Coupe, the 1600 twin cam. This car was bought on a sentimental whim because I've always wanted another Beta Coupe, and this one came up fairly locally and I couldn't resist it. So my Spider's kissing the rear end of the Lancia, and who wouldn't? Because it's a very attractive car. The convertible version was styled by Pininfarina. So the car was actually sent to Zagato. Zagato chopped the roof off, installed the rollover bar, the hood at the rear, and turned it into a semi-convertible, I guess you could say. A very pretty car in my opinion. You may have a different opinion. Don't worry about these wheels. They're actually going to be refinished in like a dark silver with a polished lip, which hopefully will complement the car a lot better than white. Anyway, what we're going to do is take it for a quick drive and have a little chat about it. Cheers. Hot start. Not so keen on that. Whew. Hot everything today. Window doesn't like going up. So we've had loads and loads and loads of rain over the last week, and it's just stopped kind of in time for me to go and collect the Lancia from a local car restoration company who very kindly got the car in to fit a new rear brake compensator and sort the brakes out generally, because only half the brakes were working. The front half, thankfully. The brakes seem to be working okay now. The handbrake comes up to about here when you pull it on, so that might need adjusting, I guess. But at least it stops. And trust me when I say that in an old car you really need it to stop. Anyway, I love it. It's great. I love driving it. It's quite noisy. It rattles a little bit at certain revs as well, but it still has that nice rasp, which is good. Oh yeah, brakes. The only drawback of slamming the brakes on like this is that one of the backrests from the rear seat keeps falling down. It's obviously not fixed properly, and every time I brake it goes hey ho. So I've got the car back basically to do a drive this weekend to Ilchester, which is in Somerset, to the Capozzoli Brothers showroom Italian car specialist, where they're having an Italian day. So yeah, wish me luck. when it was new, this car was supposed to have 120 horsepower or thereabouts. It's a 2-litre twin cam engine, obviously the famous engine designed by Aurelio Lampredi, which was fitted to lots of different cars over a period of 32 years. The twin cam that was used in a lot of Lancias, including the Monte Carlo, the Beta like this, the various iterations of the Beta, the Saloon, the Coupe. It was also used in various Fiats, of course, and it's a lovely little engine. Sounds great. It's tunable. You can still get parts for it dead easy. So yeah, happy with the engine. The engine seems to be working okay. It's not perhaps 120 horsepower, but you know, some of those have escaped. Also, the indicator is on the right, which is quite annoying, and I'm constantly switching on the windscreen wipers instead of the indicators. I'm going to have to get this engine tuned up a little bit, sort out the tappets, maybe rebuild the carburettor, because at the moment I suspect that the Nissan Micra could give me a run for my money. Anyway, I think the trip to Somerset will probably do the old girl good. Woo, 55 miles an hour. Come on! Come on! I think I might pull off here. We'll do a little walk around. That motorhome's been sat there for weeks and weeks. Okay, so I've just pulled off into a lay-by, do a quick walk around of the car, because it looks so much nicer when it's out on the road than it does stuffed in the corner of a garage. So yeah, 1980 Lancia Beta Spider, 2-litre twin cam. The car was partially restored by somebody who lives in Cardiff, and they ended up selling the car to a guy that I bought the car from, who had advertised it on Facebook Marketplace. He wasn't a particularly knowledgeable car guy, he just knew that it was a pretty car and he wanted something to drive over the summer that was cool. So the Lancia obviously fitted that description. He drove it for a little while. He then decided that he didn't really want it on his driveway over the winter, which is probably a sensible conclusion to come to. So I paid him what he wanted for it, which was actually a very good value deal. Probably less than the car was worth on the open market, but you know, I think he got his money back, so that's all good. I promptly spotted that the brakes didn't work, neither did the handbrake, and the car had a few issues. Noisy exhaust. It looked like it was going to need a little bit of fettling around the edges. One very obvious thing is that it's very hard to close the doors. Yeah. There you go. That was easier than it was before, and that's because the guys that I've just taken the car to fiddled around with the hinges a little to try and make it easier. It is a 4-seater, although the legroom for back passengers is yeah, not brilliant. It is doable, but you might find that you're a little bit squeezy in the back there. So this arrangement would give you what Jeremy Clarkson might refer to as a semi, where you can leave the rear hood section up and just take off the Targa top, stow that in the boot. And if you're feeling like a bit of fresh air but you don't want a howling gale, job's a good one. Looks good either way, I think, with the rear hood up or the rear hood down. There she is, tucked back in the unit, ready for a little excursion at the weekend. Or should I take... Here it is. Yeah, it's big.